Okay, so the second part of this lecture is to continue solving the inequality of absolute value for the rational expression on a side. So we are dealing with a rational expression on one side. So for example 3, solve the inequality of absolute 1 over x minus 2 less than 3. So what do you think we should do for this part? So usually we just apply the basic definition, right? So what is the basic definition? So for the less, it will be, yes, it will be in between negative of the right side and positive of the right side. So we can write down in the form of basic definition. So what will be? So it will be in between negative 3 and 3 of the 1 over x minus 2. Can we solve it directly on two sides? No, because we cannot multiply cross of this. Why? Because we don't know what is this value of x. This bottom value may be a positive one or negative. If it's negative, this sign will be changing. So what we should do? Okay, so we have to separate on each side. So as the example in the first part, separate into two different inequality. Okay, so the first part will be on the right side, 1 over x minus 2 less than 3. Another one will be 1 over x minus 2 more than negative 3. So if we take it directly, it will be negative 3 less than 1 over x minus 2. So we have this notation n. Why n? Because it must satisfy both of these solutions. So we have to find the intersection between these two inequality. So solve for one side. So the first side, for the first one on the left side, what we can do, remember, for the rational inequality, we have to make sure the right hand side must be equal to 0. So that's why we have to subtract 3 on each side to eliminate the 3 on the right hand side. So after that, what we should do? Yes, because this is a rational, we have to make sure that it will be in the form of px over qx more than or equal to, more than or less than 0. Okay, so first step, make sure the right hand side equal to 0. The second step, we have to find the common denominator to find the px over qx. So this 3 is over 1. So we just have to cross multiply here to find the common denominator and then multiply with the denominator. So x minus 2 for the denominator, and the top one is 1 multiplied by 1 is 1, and negative 3 multiplied with x minus 2 less than 0. So solve for the top one, what we will have is 1 minus 3x plus 6, which is 7 minus 3x. And then the bottom one, the denominator, will be the same as x minus 2. Nothing changed. Okay, so we reached this part already. So we can stop first because we want to get the form of px over qx for the right side. So do the same thing as the left hand side. The first one, make sure the right hand side equal to 0, and then find the common denominator, because to get the form of px over qx, so we get 3x minus 5 over x minus 2 more than 0. So solve for each side. So this one we can apply the table of sign. Okay, let's solve for the left hand side first. So the left hand side is 7 minus 3x over x minus 2 less than 0. So because we have the roots of x or equal to 2 for the denominator, the numerator will have x equal to 7 over 3. Okay, so we have these two values on the number line, 2 on the left side, 7 over 3 on the right hand side. So we have 3 interval, which is from negative infinity to 2, and then from 2 to 7 over 3, and then from 7 over 3 to infinity. Okay, these three interval, and also we have the two factor, which is 7 minus 3x for the numerator and x minus 2 for the denominator. So we need to find the intersection. Okay, now put the roots of each of the factor. So for 7 minus 3x, the root is on 7 over 3. So put the 0 on this part, and then the 0 should be an empty 0. Why empty 0? Because it's only less than. There is no equal sign. And then for x minus 2, the root is equal to 2. So that's why we put 0 on the 2 here. And then what we should do? Okay, the first part here, 7 minus 3x, on the right side of the dot, what will be? Positive or negative? We must look at the coefficient of x. So what is the coefficient of x? It's negative 3. So it's a negative value. So the right side of the dot should be negative. Okay? And then the left hand side of the dot should be positive. Remember, look at the coefficient of x. And then for x minus 2, the right side of the dot will be positive. Why? Because the coefficient of x is positive. So the left hand side of the dot will be negative. Okay, so the division between these two factors, so it's the same as the multiplication in quadratic. So positive divide with negative will be negative. Positive divide with positive will be positive. Negative divide with positive will be negative. So what we want as the answer? We want the value that less than 0, which is negative value. So these two will be the answer. It means that we just directly write down the interval. So from negative infinity to 2 unions with 7 over 3 to infinity. Okay, this is only on the left side of the inequality. We need to solve for the right hand side of the inequalities. So 3x minus 5 over x minus 2 more than 0. So we repeat the same thing as the left hand side of the inequality. So the first one is to draw the table of sign. So we have root of 2 and root of 5 over 3. So 5 over 3 is less than 2. So 5 over 3 should be on the left. So we have 3 intervals. The first interval is from negative infinity to 5 over 3. The second interval is from 5 over 3 to 2. The last one from 2 to infinity. And then we have two factors here for the numerator and denominator, which is 3x minus 5 and x minus 2. So put the dot first. So the dot for 3x minus 5, it should be here. Okay? So it's empty dot because it's more than only. So that is our dot. Right? And then the dot for x minus 2 will be for x equal to 2. So put the dot there. And then put the sign on the left side of the dot, on the right side of the dot. So for the first one, 3x minus 5, it will be positive. So the right side will be positive. So the left hand side of the dot will be negative. So negative, positive, positive. And then for x minus 2 also, it's a positive x. So it will be negative, negative, and then positive. So what is the division between this value? Will be negative, negative, positive, positive, negative, negative, positive, positive, positive. So where is the answer? So the answer we want to find is more than 0, which means that we want the positive value. So what is the answer? Yes, from negative infinity to 5 over 3 or 2 to infinity. So we have the two solutions for each side. So what we want to do is now to find the intersection, because it should be satisfy both of these solutions. Find the intersection between the first part and the left hand side solution and the right solution. So negative, so sketch the real number line. On the real number line, so we have value 2, 7 over 3, 5 over 3 and 2. So it should be 2 in the middle. So we have 5 over 3, 2 and 7 over 3. So sketch for the first side. So what it will be? From negative infinity to 2, so it will be like this. And then from 7 over 3 to infinity to the right. And then the second set will be from negative infinity to 5 over 3 to the left. And then from 2 to infinity. to the right. So where is the intersection? Can you see the intersection here? So which one has the two arrow, the two lines on each set? Yes, it is less than 5 over 3 and more than 7 over 3. So the answer for this one should be negative infinity to 5 over 3 union with 7 over 3 to infinity. We can write down the answer in solution set such that x less than 5 over 3 or x more than 7 over 3. Okay, so I want you to try for this question for example 4. So as usual, the first step, we just have to use the basic definition. So what is the basic definition? Apply the basic definition. So we will have two parts. Okay, so solve for each part. Okay, so I will give you the final answer only. Before we go to the final answer, I'll show you the answer we get for the left side of the inequalities and then the right side of the inequalities. So the left side will get negative 1 over 3 to 9 over 5. The right side will get negative 11 to negative 1 over 3. So what we want to do is to find the union between these two, because the question is the more than something. So more than, the definition should be union. So if you see the answer here, the final answer should be the union between these two sets is from negative 11 to negative 1 over 3 or from negative 1 over 3 to 9 over 5. Or we can write down in the interval form. So this is the final answer. I want you to try for this one and then check whether your answer is the same or not. Okay, let's do the next example. So we have this example 5. Solve absolute of x plus 2 over x minus 3 more than or equal to 3. So we can do the same thing as the earlier, which is by using the basic definitions. So for more than, we have x more than a or x less than negative a. Okay, means that we can separate these two into x plus 2 over x minus 3 more than or equal to 3, or x plus 2 over x minus 3 less than or equal to negative 3. But I want to give an alternative working so that you can see whether which one is easier or which one you can understand more. Okay. Okay, what is the alternative solution for the example 5? So it will be squaring both sides. Can we do squaring both sides? As I said earlier, it's a rational. We cannot do squaring both sides. So if you see the question, x minus 2 over x minus 3 absolute more than or equal to 3. How can we separate this and square both sides? Why? Remember the properties of absolute. Absolute of a over b can be written in the form of absolute a over absolute b. That's why this one we can write on x minus absolute of x minus 2 divided with absolute of x minus 3 more than or equal to 3, and we can bring absolute of x minus 3 to the right side. Why? Because this absolute of x minus 3 won't be negative value. So we don't have to worry about the change of sign. Why? Because this absolute notation will always positive. So that's why we can multiply with the absolute of x minus 3 on each side. And then we can, yes, bring to the left hand side. That's why we will have absolute of x plus 2 minus 3 absolute of x minus 3. But before that, we square both sides. Square both sides. So when we apply square both sides and then bring to the left side, and then remember we can use the a squared minus b squared formula. So this is our a, this is our b. So a minus a plus b and a minus b. So what we have is x plus 2 plus with 3x minus 9. And then x plus 2 minus 3x minus 9. So it will be minus 3x plus 9. So more than 0. So what we need to do, we just have to simplify each of the bracket. Okay, so simplify x plus 2 plus 3x minus 9 will be for x minus 7, and then x plus 2 minus 3x plus 9 will be negative 2x plus 11 more than or equal to 0. So this is a quadratic. So we just have to solve the quadratic inequality. How? The easiest way to solve quadratic inequalities is by using the graphical method. And then remember, the tips to make sure you didn't do any careless mistake is to take out the negative on the x. So what I do is negative 2x minus 11, negative of 2x minus 11 here. So the negative one, to eliminate the negative one, we multiply with negative, so the sign will be changed. So that's why we have 4x minus 7 multiplied with 2x minus 11. Okay, so solve the quadratic, we just have to find the roots and then sketch the graph. So it is a smile graph. Okay, let me clear here, everything here. So this is our graph, and then we have the roots of, this one is x equal to 7 over 4 and x equal to 11 over 2. So which one is on the left hand side? So 7 over 4. And then we want to find the value that less than or equal to 0, means that the below x exists. This is y less than 0. So the answer should be in between 7 over 4 to 11 over 2. But remember, because x minus 3 is on the denominator part, x equal to 3 cannot be included in the results. We know that x equal to 3 is in between 7 over 4 and 11 over 2. That's why the answer is from 7 to over 4 to 11 over 2 inclusively, but x must not equal to 3. So you should write down this value must not be included. It must be stated in the answer. Or if you want to write down in the interval form, it will be in the interval form without the value of x not equal to 3, we can write down as absolute of close bracket of 7 over 4 to 3, open bracket, union with open bracket of 3 to 11 over 2. This open bracket means that 3 is not included. Okay, so this is the alternative method. So this alternative method, you have to be careful with the value that must not be included. Okay, I think that's all for the lecture 4. So we are done with chapter 2. Thank you.